looking like he's having no trouble with either.
Guaranteed great team to watch coming into this heat was Move Fast, Lift Heavy. They have not let us down. Christian Harris, former football player at Long Island Post. Got some good shoulders on that frame. And now it will be Harris holding. And this is an interesting position we'll see some people attempt too. Harris is going to use his legs, bend himself forward, and just drape that worm on his back.
Stance is a lot wider than we have seen for a number of athletes. Great position to be in.
It's almost like, to use a football metaphor, it's almost like he's an offensive tackle, right? He's gotten in that good 2-point stance, he's resting, or just sits on his shoulders.
Well, it is one of the most strongest positions you can get into, so why not utilize it?
Will Carter with the traverses. Nicole Soto with the 2 pegboard ascents.
We're seeing a lot of proficiency in those pegboard ascents. Last year, Joel, we saw some athletes on the team side still struggling. So the athletes on the team side making their gains here on the pegboards, and we're seeing no trouble at all on the P-bars as well with the new element. So gymnastics abilities are improving across the board here on the team side.
90 seconds left. Soto wants some noise. Move Fast, Lift Heavy's feeling it. AB got to this final set of 15 synchronized burpees over the worm with 30 seconds to go. So about a 40-second lead. Although a little bit of a bungle there. Getting set. It's about 10 wasted seconds for Move Fast, Lift Heavy. They have 1 minute remaining to work through these 15 synchronized burpees over the worm. Time to beat is cap plus 4. So 11 burpees here.
Great tempo, even under fatigue, keeping them together.
The vibe and the communication here from Move Fast, Lift Heavy is incredible. You can't even tell who's calling. They are just going as one cohesive unit, and they'll come across and finish unofficially in 9:36. Move Fast, Lift Heavy with the time to beat here in Heat 2.
Joel, you did mention them trying to jump up heats, and no doubt with that time, we are going to see them in a higher heat coming into tomorrow.
Yeah, they're going to beat people. They're going to beat a lot of people. Teams are not going to finish, and almost everybody does not finish. It is solely Move Fast, Lift Heavy that finishes Event 4, Heat 2.
And only one other team who got to that final burpees as well, so that is huge for them.
Fittest teacher in the world, Will Carter, Christian Harris, Winter Rodriguez, Nicole Soto.
Move Fast, Lift Heavy. They hit the P-bars hard. They work together the entire time. Some different strategies that they use on the worm, led by Christian Harris here. A lot of communication the whole time. Strength across the board, showing their proficiency in these gymnastic movements and literally leaning on each other when they needed to on the worm. Looking for some love, looking for a little support from the crowd here to give them that final push. The first team that we're seeing to finish this event that will move them up the leaderboard after their 25th place finish in the first event of their CrossFit Games here in Madison.
What is CrossFit? Large loads, long distances, quickly. Move Fast, Lift Heavy. They win, Heat 2. It all comes back to the same core methodology. 9:36.97 is the time to beat. Tyrannus actually is in second place now too, cap plus 2. That drops cap plus 4, AB CrossFit into third. These are the overall standings as we get set for Heat 3. Again, Oslo Navy Blue upending Mayhem Freedom in the opening event is the story. It was Mayhem that won initially the first 6 events at last year's games. Later, a scoring adjustment turned it into the first 5. But it is Oslo Navy Blue that will wear a leader's jersey when we eventually get to Heat 4 here inside the Coliseum. Event description brought to us by Wyatt.
Jumping a couple of events which we will see tomorrow, but 5 rounds of 15 synchronized burpees over the worm. In between that, we're going to send our pairs either end of the Coliseum. 3 or 2 pegboard ascents, 3 for the men, 2 for the women, and 15 parallel or P-bar dips, traversing along, making sure they get 8 reps done on one end, traversing back, getting 7 reps on the other before they come to the middle and progress that work down the competition floor.
And that is a lot of burpees that these athletes have. So there has to be a lot of communication when it comes to the burpees, when it comes to where they need to be, which athlete is going to break off and go over to the pegboard, go over to the parallel bars. So the name of the game for this and that recipe for success, the ingredient for success is going to be communication.
Teams competing here in Heat 3. Square in the middle of the 4 in lane 5, Kolesnikov team, KT CrossFit. Qualified last year, unable to make it to the games because of travel issues, so good for them to be able to compete here. OBA out of Philadelphia is in lane 7. 8th Day CrossFit did win a heat in event 1 today in lane 1, but in lane 9, KAMO, Kansas, Missouri, they're right on the line, our guaranteed rate team to watch. Camo Athletics, they were told in semifinals that they resembled a bunch of sneaky fit little gremlins. They're one of the smallest teams out there, but because of that, maybe this is an event that they can hit a home run with.
They were at the MAC and they were fun to watch. They're aggressive. When they have confidence, you're going to see them just take off. So I expect a lot of energy from them. I expect them to do really well in this event.
And it was 8th Day that we alluded to that won Heat 1 of event number 1. So you've got some momentum and some confidence riding high.
10 seconds.
The pause couple in the back, Schaefer right, Jones left.
Stand by.
It's going to start on the worm, 15 synchronized burpees over the worm.
A variety of tests that these teams are going to see throughout the week. The first event today was a very long event, a little different pacing, but this one has to be fast right from the get-go if you want to finish, and they need to move quickly together, synchronized, and that's what they're doing.
Tanya, you mentioned the length, the duration of event number 1 and getting that heart rate under control for pretty much the entire time frame. This is going to jack it up really quick and maybe trying to control that throughout the sub 10 minutes that they've got in front of them. It's probably a little bit more difficult, especially as they have to work pretty hard with that worm in the middle while they're pretty much doing nothing, if that makes sense.
Well, EXF already made a mistake here. Moses Patello left to go down to traverse the parallel bars before the worm was elevated in the air. The owner of CrossFit EXF in Queensland, Australia.
I must say they live about 20 minutes north of where I am in Australia. And Bryony and Christy in particular, very good gymnastically. You mentioned Moses. Moses gymnastically is exceptional. My only concern is the size of Henry Carlisle. Henry's about 6'4". He's a very big human. We'll have to wait and see how that happens. But Moses on his way back on the traverse already on his second set of dips.
Former middle blocker holding up that worm in the back there at 6'4".
Christy Bishop, right of screen. A lot of regional individual experience. And gymnastically, very good.
Still waiting for Bishop to come back down and return to the team here. Pick up the worm, they will advance it. So it is EXF in front.
Formerly Bishop, now Christy Hollard, getting married recently as well. For their first time at the games and getting their team together.
You would know this more than anybody, Jeremy. Christy Bishop lives in Brisbane. She actually travels quite a distance to be able to compete with the EXF here. Lives on the same street as Royce Dunn, though. There's a street in Brisbane where all the fit people live.
Well, she lives about 4 hours north of Brisbane, but she's left her family at home and moved to Brisbane to compete with EXF. So big move for her. And great to see her on the games floor for the first time.
Now here's Camo on the right side that has joined EXF. We talked about them sneaky fit little gremlins looking to go to work.
Trying to make up some time. They weren't the first to move it, but they are moving really fast, staying low to the burpee as they jump over. They don't stand a full extension. That's really smart.
Worm up in the air for 8th day, left of screen. Zoe Jones will head over to the parallel bars. EXF still leading from the front. And watch the different traverses. You can see just baby steps trying to move your way down the parallel bars from one end to the other.
If you're not as comfortable, you're going to minimize the movement. You're going to try to stay as tight as possible. Your more comfortable athletes are going to take bigger steps, use more of their hips there.
I'm still waiting for somebody. Gymnastics folks will get me on this. Someone's going to do a bobsar. Just swing from one side to the other.
They need their hands to come in front of those red marks before they can start their dips.
And how about the timing? Jones and Paz ending together.
Beautiful. Great pairing. Some of that little error there on communication where they need to be, but that was a great strategy to put those two athletes together. The right pair can make up a lot of time on other teams.
You mentioned it, the ingredients to success. Getting the right people in the right spot, really important. And those guys, milliseconds in it.
Closing in on the halfway mark here, 10-minute time capped event. The time to beat is 9 minutes and 36 seconds. Let's move fast, lift heavy from heat number 2. It appears as if Zoe Jones is the caller there for 8th day. Once her chest hits, basically gives the go for the rest of the team to move. There's EXF in the black. Moses Patella giving Justin Medeiros a run for best mullet at the games this year. Wild Protein Chips is the official protein chip of the Noble CrossFit Games. They're online, and you can find them nationwide. Whole Foods, Sprouts, select Target locations.